guys, so this video we're going to be going over one of my favorite setups for reverse triangle, the one that I find myself kind of setting up more often. It's important to understand the finishing mechanics. So like in my previous video, we went over finishing mechanic of reverse triangles, so that once we get there, we know how to finish it and we don't lose it. And then this is the part where we set it up. And then I'll talk about the finishing mechanics some more as well. So we're going to start in back control. And back control of seatbelt, we have one arm, we have one arm over, we have one arm under, and a lot of times the first fight is going to be the hand fight. So like he's always going to be defending choke. So from here, I'm always trying to make sure that, you know, I'm leaning towards the side where I'm going to be able to choke him, which is my over side. And then there are a lot of times where he just tries to put me on the opposite side. So the one that my arm is under. And the problem with this is that it's very hard to keep that shoulder alignment with this underside, because he can just use both his feet and just flatten his back out to the floor. And now this starts to become kind of like a scramble. It's not really back control so much anymore. So a lot of times when I get to back control and I have the seatbelt and I can feel that he's already looking for the hand fight, I'm looking to try to get the one-on-one grip. So this grip is the underside. I'm trying to grab his knuckle, pretty much his punching knuckle over here, to control the very end of his arm, making it easier to control it. Here it's very hard for him to straighten his arm because I'm controlling again the joint from the last joint of the arm. So if he straightens his arm here, it's tough. And I see a lot of times, sometimes people get the one-on-one on the wrist, and then the guy's so strong he starts straining, your wrist starts to hurt, so you kind of have to let go. So I'm always trying to make sure that my fingers are over here on the knuckle. And then I have to study the anatomy. Like he has to find a way out of the curve of the finger. So I have to kind of close the door, and by that, I try to put his palm to his stomach. So now, really the only way he's gonna find a way to break this grip is with his other hand, which leaves his choke unattended. And a lot of times he can put his chin down. So cross face seems to happen here a lot. So if I go and I start cross facing him, I can start leaning towards the side that's under, but now I'm not concerned about him flattening himself out because of the one-on-one grip. If he tries to misalign his shoulders, it's not gonna work out because this is locking him in place. So this cross grip is really annoying. A lot of times they start looking to use their free hand to break the grip, and I use that opportunity to try to trap his arm for a little bit. And then now I'm going to be bringing my arm around his neck to frame him. The reason I do this is because a lot of times they put their feet on the floor and they flatten me out, and it's kind of like I have a lot of trouble working from here. So just one kind of frame over here in front of the neck, if he attempts to do that again, will not let him flatten you out, making it easier to attack the reverse triangle. So from here we can choose whichever hook we want to hook the elbow with. So sometimes I like to grab with my right, the shin with my right, and then pull the elbow with my left. But sometimes I do reach for the shin with my left, and then I start hooking the elbow. But it's extremely important that I keep that elbow with me as I start transitioning him to the other side. Another point I want to make that I made in the last video is that you don't want to bring your whole entire leg over here. So you want to make sure that you bring just your Achilles above his shoulder blade here, and then you make the grip on the shin and hook onto the shoulder. So I'm going to have my camera guy go on this side so we can do it. So from here I'm keeping the elbow stuck, and then I start looking to take him all the way to this side. And a lot of times they're gonna grab their hand here, they're trying to defend. He's trying to bring his elbow as close to him as possible, so I gotta make sure to keep that pressure alive on his elbow. And then I start looking to close the triangle. Keep in mind, he's probably looking for the quarter if he knows this position well. So I'm always trying to hide this. Sometimes I step on the hip to make a little bit of an adjustment so I can get my calf right in front of his neck, and right here I can start looking to close the triangle. And as long as you're applying that pressure heavy on the elbow, when you start hooking the wrist, it becomes very easy to just start driving your hips here. If he's grabbing onto his hand and he's really strong, sometimes you can take the first hook out and make it even tighter. But now I'm just connected to the end of the extremity and my hips do the rest. And once his grip breaks, I connect to his thumb. Anything he does to try to reach his thumb now is gonna be hard for him. And now I just drive my hips, keeping my back off the ground so I can get that nice hyperextension. If I start bringing my back flat here, not only can he rotate and I'm not pinning him, but it's hard to hyperextend. So make sure you're breaking the arm off your back.